is Ashtin, and he's 3. Alright, you ready? Here.
Even from a young age, media, film, television, all of it has been a part of my life. Telling stories, making an impact, making something I'm proud of, getting an image that inspires. That's what filmmaking is to me. That's what media is to me. The fact that I can take something, put it on the screen. I can take a photo that says 1,000 words and do that over and over at 24 frames per second. That's why I love media. Not because it's cool, impressive, or flashy, but because I can express. We can express. The reason we experience, the reason we love, the reason we laugh is all driven by the idea of art, entertainment, and everything in between. So this is my story. This is my life, and how serendipitous that I can present it in such a way. Art is collaborative. Art is together, and art is the best of us.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Now I'll go downstairs.
Okay.
When I was tasked with an assignment like this, it causes you to self-reflect, to think back on who you are, where you're going, and most importantly, where you came from. And a part of that assignment causes for self-evaluation. And self-evaluation is one of the highest forms of thinking that a person can do. And I think that's powerful. I think that's important. I think it's needed for people to self-evaluate, for people to think back on where they've come from. So when it comes to media that's in my life, of course, I think of where I came from, and I know that that's important. I could give the answer of I've always done media, I've always been interested in the idea of filmmaking and telling stories, but that would be such an ambiguous answer that it wouldn't be fair to you. It wouldn't be fair to the storytelling that is the media in my life. Media and the consumption of it has been in my life for as long as I can remember. Starting all the way back from when my father brought home the first iteration of the iPod or the Generation 1 iPhone.
This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
Those were all things that were a part of my early childhood, as well as growing up in a family that was big on Apple computers and everything in between. It inspired me and it excited me. The fact that something like this is tangible, it's usable, it's accessible. So again, from my early childhood, the world of tech is what inspired me. It was computers and TV screens and everything in between. But then slowly but surely, it was the fascination of the camera, the thing that captured, the thing that recorded. That fascinated me. I remember the earliest parts of my childhood going to movies with my dad, with my mom, with my brother. And movies were what got me through the hard times. I remember watching the early Harry Potter films, or going and seeing the first Avengers or Iron Man when it came out in 2008. Those were the things that inspired me. Yes, I thought they were really cool stories, but there was something about the fact that I knew that I could make that one day. That's what kickstarted this journey.
And cut. We've cut.
Dating all the way back to probably middle school, even 5th grade, whatever. I remember even in elementary playing with toys or my Lego sets. I was big big on Lego sets, and that carried over. I found an app on my phone where I could make stop motion animations of the things that I was playing with, specifically Legos. I would make these miniature movies that would allow me to express myself, that would allow me to tell stories with the things that I was already using. From the moment that I had a phone, from the moment that I touched a camera for the very first time, that was when the idea of creation inspired me. Were they the worst possible stop-motion Lego movies you could ever see? Yes, they were terrible, but I loved them. I was excited to make them. And that excitement never stopped. That excitement is why we create still to this day. The passion for creativity doesn't come from a final product. Passion for creativity, the passion for filmmaking that we all share, comes from this place of knowing that we can touch something and it become larger than life, that it can inspire you, the people around you. That's where that passion comes from. So carrying on into my early middle school years, or even the late middle school years, my best friend Tanner, who has been my best friend for over 12 years to date, we have created together. And with that being said, we created miniature short films that were god-awful, but we always showed them to our parents because we were excited about them. And our parents were also excited in return. We were going through something very similar in our lives as far as something pretty serious. And it happened that we could go through it together. We could go through it while creating, to distract ourselves. It was a very beautiful time in our lives, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But with those films, with those miniature skits that we would make growing up, we also began a talk show.
Morning, afternoon, or nighttime.
Depending on what time you're watching. Hello and welcome to the talk show where we talk about stuff, people, and things. I'm Tanner Sells.
I'm Ashtin Francis. It's time to talk.
And we called it, well, the talk show with Tanner and Ashtin. It was from 7th grade to probably late 8th grade that we did this together. Rather religiously. And it was a way for us to sit down, talk, create. Looking back on it, they were terrible, but we loved it. We were able to tell stories from silly episodes all the way up to very serious episodes. And then when you look at it, we were just basically copying Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning, but hey, we had to start somewhere. The talk show with Tanner and Ashtin took a pause once we entered the high school years. I started diving a little bit more into a different kind of filmmaking, telling stories in a more intricate way. I purchased a new camera at that time, and it elevated my creative work. I started getting into slow-mo, highlight reels, and other kinds of stories, and with that, the types of things that we made shifted. But with those skits, we also brought in his brother, Keegan Sells. And it became the three of us that made stories together. The films we created just grew. The ideas we had became larger than life. And with that, the stories got better and better and better every single time. We missed the excitement of creating together. And so with that being said, our sophomore year of high school, the talk show of Tanner and Ashtin came back. But now it was called something different. We did a talk show almost for our school. It was called TVH Awesome.
Good morning, Tays Valley High School.
I'm Tanner Sells.
And I'm Ashtin Francis.
And I hope you are having an awesome day.
These fun, silly little skits were exciting to us. It allowed us to utilize our school time to create something that otherwise we never would have made. But it allowed us to tell stories in such intricate ways, to be able to utilize our ability to talk that grew. The comfortability of being in front of the camera only got stronger the more and more we made. The growth you saw, the confidence level boosted from making something. The idea that you can do something as simple as build your confidence while creating. The more and more I sit and talk in front of a camera, the more and more it feels like home. It feels like the good times. It feels like when Tanner and I would make the talk show with Tanner and Ashtin. It feels like when the three of us would make TVH Awesome. Later, the school started recognizing this. They empowered us to continue to create. fun, silly skits that got the students engaged. Yes, they were simple and kind of stupid when you look back on it, but knowing that we were creating and we created with a purpose, that was inspiring. Looking back on the fact that our school equipped us with the ability to make, they didn't limit us. They told us, yes, you can. And to me, that is one of the most powerful things, is the idea of knowing that, yes, I can, you can, we can make. It doesn't matter whether it's for school, a stupid skit, or something inspiring, a talk show, or everything in between. That is what we get to do. We get to create. And gosh, I'm so glad that we do. And so with that creation, I continued my career. We continued to work together, making films like Olivia, which I was the director of photography for, under the direction and writing of Zach Bethel, an incredible creator, an incredible artist, and an incredible storyteller. As the traction grew for that, the itch to be on a true, real production set only continued to grow. So Tanner and I banded together, and with his writing and his incredible talent, I was able to be the director of photography on his film, Broken. That was a story that inspired me, knowing that we could spark emotion, that we could spark change, that we could spark something. And though we were young, though we were in our senior year of high school, we would go to school at 6 a.m., excited to be on set until 2 a.m. that evening. Later that summer, we had a movie premiere before we all went our separate ways into college. That was a beautiful moment. Friends, family, and people who were invested in the things that we did came. They told us and again that they were the people that supported, they were the people that said that we could, they were the people that allowed us to continue to create, and for that we thank them. I thank the people that inspired me to make my own production company, Reality Productions. Our goal is to create. Our goal is a people company first, that the people within the company are more important than the product that we produce. Reality Productions is something that inspires me, allowing us to create content for clients, to create content for ourselves and for others that inspire, that are exciting, that means something. With Reality Productions, I wanted to create something that facilitated an educational aspect. Teaching is a passion of mine. And with that being said, my podcast was formed.
What's going on, and welcome back to another episode of Film Fit
was the original name for the podcast. And something about Film Fit was exciting. The idea that I could sit down and talk about the things that I'm passionate about for an hour on end, that was exciting to me. I loved it. And though over time, Film Fit was something that was geared for filmmakers, but I knew that it was worth more than that. I knew that Film Fit could be more than something for just the artistic form that is filmmaking. Film Fit could be something for all creators and creatives, where we talk about their processes and their experiences, and that is where Creative Digest was formed.
A24 is a household name now.
Yeah, no, they've, you look at them the past decade.
They're a household name. I think they're up there. I don't think they're allowed to be considered this indie. The name change and the brand redesign happened when I knew that Film Fit was for people other than just filmmakers. Creative Digest is for all creatives. No matter the background, whether you're in the artistic field or not, Creative Digest is for you. Creative Digest is for every kind of creator. It's inspiring, it's educational. So with that being said, I find myself at the University of Cincinnati, learning, creating, and being inspired by the faculty and the students around me. Educating from a technical standpoint, I don't think I ever would have been. Being empowered by the people around me to continue to create, to continue to pursue the things around me, like Creative Digest and Reality Productions. With that, my future holds storytelling. It holds connections, and it holds the people around me even more dear. Because without people, creativity doesn't exist. Without friends, without family, without the people around you that encourage you, your creativity doesn't exist. And so with that, I encourage you. I encourage myself to keep creating, to keep pushing, and to keep inspiring. Because that's why we do it in the first place. We do it because we get to. We do it because we feel the obligation to create, to tell stories, whether it be in music, photos, editing, or filmmaking as a whole. Stories are why we do it. It's why we keep pushing a little bit harder every single day. It's the things that inspire us to make greater change. It's the things that distract us from the crazy world that we're so surrounded in. So media in my life, gosh, I don't know where to start, but man, am I glad it's here. Thank you.